Larry, I'm going to just say, take it away because you woke up with something on your mind, in your heart to talk
I
about.
do. But first, happy New Year, And, I think what's on my mind is like, we're just watching, COVID, this hugely contagious COVID thing happen. It's just like a cloud just covering everything,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, there's in a way some good news for, some people anyway. It doesn't seem to be so serious and anyway, but so many people are sick, have to not go to work. And there are other issues, complications, school. It's a big mess. And, I think that so much of everybody's conversations is about this right now. That's partly why I want to talk about it. And, we have, as usual, like another angle to look at this. And I think it's important to add it to the conversation.
Yeah.
And the other angle is that when we're presented with some kind of health challenge, we can meet it with two options. One are the things that we sort of discover how we do by virtue of living our life. And in Master Lu's framework, that's acquired. So there's acquired capacity, or we might say acquired immunity, acquired capacity to meet the challenge. And that's relevant because we do a lot of things that are acquired, like the energy we use every day is also acquired from the food we eat. And how well we do that is a measure of like how healthy we can be and what our potential is.
Right.
And then we have like a whole nother dimension, which is like given to us, but it's in us. Like you can say, like we have meridians, those are in us. We have certain things that are in us that are not visible, not measurable, that have to do with capacities we also have, and that Master Lu calls these innate, because they're inborn with us. And so we have the potential to activate those and use those, and they carry with them deep spiritual messages about our life purpose and what we're capable of in any situation, any challenge. And in the big picture where we say there are no accidents, spiritually anyway, there are no accidents. That means whatever happens, we're in some way prepared for. But the preparation is on the innate level. The deep preparation is on the innate level with what this sort of invisible information message capacity that we have. And that's really important because it means that we have a way to meet any challenge and pull something out of it, derive something out of it that will be good for us. And it shifts then the conversation away from just in a way to kind of the material conversation we're having about illness, about, are you vaccinated or not vaccinated, how distant you have to be, all these sort of measurable things, not that they're unimportant. I think they're important, but there's yet something else. And, that gives us a lot of freedom and can give us a sense of our own potential. And if you do both, which is kind of where we are in the modern world, we have to do both, then you can really you can live your full spiritual life. You can take advantage of scientific medical advance, and you can take advantage of what we know spiritually also to be true, and make them real in our lives. And I just think that that's important for people to consider. And then if you consider it, you say like, well, that's so in a way esoteric. It's so I mean,
Dragony. So dragony of you.
yeah, well, that's true. But how do you reach it? I mean,
right. How do you reach it? Yeah.
So it's like, well, the most immediate answer, I think, is you have to make inner peace a really important part of your program. Because through inner peace, this experience inside your heart, you can get quiet enough to appreciate there is something else. And that something else can reach you many different ways. But in this respect, with regard to healing, especially if you're doing Qigong also, you have that's what it's about. Qigong is about connecting to these invisible dimensions that are in us and that are important and are there all the time, because the meridians are there all the time. Our link to the spiritual world is there all the time. Right. So we can do both. We can have one foot in the modern scientific world, and we can have one foot in the invisible, never will be measured, probably immeasurable, unknowable
I love
side that
that.
is also who
Yeah.
we are.
You know, I love what you just laid out here, especially the way you laid it out, because you began by thinking about acquired information and innate information.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's where we want to go to an either or stand.
yeah,
And but you've really finishing in a place where there's balance and there's a both and, not an
yeah,
either or. I think
yeah,
like when people and myself, you know, we want to follow the science. What can we
yeah,
learn? What do we
right.
know? How have we figured out? How is this moving? How are we
Mhm,
fighting? How are we winning the battle? That's all this sort of acquired external coming to us sort of information. And
right,
we want to lean on it because we want to know where's the answer, where's the answer. And what
yeah,
you're saying is, what I'm hearing you say is it's got to be a both and, because at a certain point, the information that we acquire is limited.
right,
And the information that we have innately is unlimited.
yes,
Yeah, it taps into something much greater through our energy meridians and so forth. But it does feel like a big leap to get from one into the other until you can really experience it a little bit. There are so
right.
many ways we do experience the unlimited information that's in our bodies already. We just
It-
have to learn to pay a little bit of attention to that.
Right. I mean, people have, they have intuitive experiences and they have that sort of weird synchronicities that happen and other things that wake us up to the possibility that there's something else, other ways of knowing.
Right.
But also, we grow up in a culture that is this modern scientific materialist culture.
Mhm.
And like I'm absolutely transfixed right now that we sent a telescope out into outer space
Look
it's going
back.
to it's going to orbit the Earth 1 million miles away,
Right.
and be able to open up this gigantic antenna that somehow they packaged inside a top of a pin, and it will open. It's already open, and
Right.
it will be able to receive light from the most distant places.
Right. And look
Uh,
at astrological archaeology. We're going to actually be able to look back in time somehow. So yeah,
Yeah. So, I
we're
mean, this is
bending a
the
lot
world
of
we live
rules.
in. This is
Yeah.
the world we live in. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yet it's also, no matter what that telescope discovers, when it will be very interesting, it's still not the whole story.
Right.
There's still something else that, we as human beings have access to, and that's our full potential.
Right. That's
And,
beautiful.
we need it often when, we're in trouble. Like we need our full potential when we're in trouble, when there's something going on, like through illness or other life challenge. When we're in trouble, we need to draw on our whole capacity. And then we can meet it and perhaps prevail and learn something and grow, and then we meet our spiritual destiny, I think.
I love that. That's beautiful. I think we should definitely plan next week to talk about this relationship of this and its connection to the work we're doing with medical Qigong. I think
Nice.
there's a really interesting connection there in
Yes.
terms of the concrete result of helping
Yeah,
people make that connection.
that's right.
Yeah.
Good. Happily do that. Let's
And
do it.
so for today, wishing everybody a few moments where you can sit and discover just a little bit of inner peace. And from there, who knows what might happen. Just
True.
a few minutes of inner
Beautiful.
peace might wake up who knows what for you.
Right. That's right.
And at least a few moments where you can be out of fear and worry and wondering and searching and questioning.
Mhm. Good. Thank you, Jenny.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Stay well. Bye bye.